Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's Facebook Live. As we're gathering, it would be really lovely if you can pop in the chat where you're joining us from. And as is customary, particularly in this country, tell us what the weather's doing where you are. I'm in Nottingham, and it's a sort of hazy sort of evening, and it's a lot cooler and a lot more comfortable than it was this time yesterday. So for our friends that are joining us from not the UK, I'm sure you've caught up on the news that it was disgustingly hot here yesterday. It was just a normal hot day here today. So do pop in the chat where you're joining from. We'll get started shortly. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined this evening. You can't quite see them yet, but Christine and Karen are with us this evening from the Messy Church team down in Hornchurch. If you were with us there they are. If you were with us for the Facebook Live last month, we shared the Messy Church Goes Wild promotional video, and that was filmed at Christine and Karen's Messy Church down in Hornchurch. So that was great. Mary Judkins is with us from Cornwall. Cool after storms yesterday and some rain. The gardens are crying out for that at the moment. No rain here yet, but it does feel like a storm is brewing. Right, well, as people are gathering, we'll start as we traditionally do, and we'll begin this evening in prayer. And this is one of the prayers that is taken from the Messy Adventures celebration material. So let us pray. Let's tread gently on the earth, out of joy for the life under our feet, out of awe for the wonders above our heads, out of expectation of the secrets you want to show us, out of hope for the time before us, out of respect for the people around us, out of love for the God whose earth it is. Let's tread gently on the earth. Amen. It feels like it's never been more pertinent to be praying about our impact on the environment after the weather we've seen both here and across Europe in the last week or so. So, as I've said, we're here this evening to chat about the Messy Adventures. You've heard plenty from myself and Ika and Sally across all our social media channels talking about it, but that's all very well us telling you about it. We thought you'd really want to hear from some fellow Messy Church leaders who've really been getting their hands dirty with the material. So this morning we heard from Amy, who's part of a cohort of churches in the Gloucester Diocese who've been field testing, and this evening, as I said, we've got Christine and Karen with us from the Hornchurch team, and they've been piloting the material for us as well. So ladies, thank you very much for making the time to be with us this evening. Tell us a little bit, introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your role and the church where you're based.
Okay, I'm Christine, and as Jane has already said, from St Andrew's Church in Hornchurch, which is in Essex, and my role is helping with church on a Sunday in various ways, and primarily as Messy Church coordinator in Hornchurch.
Thanks, Christine. Karen?
Okay, I'm Karen, and I've been involved in Messy Church since the beginning, when Christine and another member of our church went to the Christian Resources exhibition and saw Lucy doing a talk all about it and brought the idea back. At a previous church, I'd also looked at the idea of doing Messy Church, but we hadn't actually instigated it. So when I changed churches and saw that Christine was interested in doing it, I thought, yep, got to be involved with that. And we started 11 years ago. And I've been involved in different roles during that time. At the moment, I'm helping with the crafts and the activities sessions, and enjoying doing Messy Church Goes Wild.
You've alluded to a little bit there, but what was your experience of Messy Church prior to being part of this project on the Messy Adventures? Tell us a little bit about your Messy Church.
Right, so as we said, we've been doing it for 10 and a half years, and initially in one of our church halls next to a primary and infant school, because that was where we went to invite people along. So that didn't have any outdoor space for us. So the fact that we have now been doing Messy Adventures within our own churchyard has really, been a transformation both for the team and for the families that come, because it is totally a different environment, a church hall, as opposed to outdoors in God's creation. So it's been a very different and very enjoyable experience, which we'll tell you a bit more about later on.
And how did you come to get involved in the project? What made you want to be part of the Messy Adventures in the first place? Karen?
I'm a preschool leader, and been encouraging people at our church to do outdoor activities. Over the last 5 or 6 years, each summer we've held a summer session and spent sort of 2-3 hours outside with a particular theme for that session. And when we saw that Lucy had asked for people to help out with the scheme, we thought it'd be an ideal opportunity to do a little bit more and to expand what we'd already started.
Brilliant. And tell us a little bit about how you went about going wild. What did you do? Have you stopped doing your existing Messy Church? Have you made everybody go wild? Just tell us a little bit about how it's working for you.
During the pandemic, we had stopped doing the 2 sessions that we were doing in the 2 different venues that we've previously hosted Messy Church in. And we took it online, and then when we decided to restart, we opted for just doing outdoor sessions. So we were already doing regular outdoor sessions with our families. And so piloting it was just like, okay, let's try resources that have already been written for us, rather than trying to think of it all up ourselves, adding that science element to it, which is really important, and engaging more people along the way.
Brilliant. And Christine's mentioned a little bit about the environment in which you do it, but tell us a little bit about the space that you've got. Tell us about the sort of area Hornchurch is and the space that you use for the wild activities.
Hornchurch is quite a large, they call it a village town. It's quite built up. Our church is very fortunate. It's 800 years old, I think, Christine. Am I about right there?
Yeah.
So it has quite a bit of space. Obviously, a lot of it is over to gravestones, but we do have space within that where there's clearings. So we've got an ancient part of it that has been wonderful to explore with people who have never ever sort of visited that area. And we've got sort of grassy areas and tree areas. So nice lot of variety of ecosystems that we've been able to explore.
Brilliant. And Christine, tell us a little bit about the team involved. So have you got the same team as with delivering your regular Messy Church sessions doing this, or have you managed to draw in any new people to get involved in the Messy Adventures?
The team for running the Messy Church Goes Wild has been a lot smaller, partly because the number of families coming have been smaller too, and also because a lot of our team are quite a lot older, and therefore, particularly in the winter months, were not health-wise, we would not have wanted them to be coming along. The joy of that was that they have found other ways to interact with Messy Church, and I have a knitting group now that has formed with these older ladies who then produce things, and our Messy Nativity at Christmas was their knitted arrangements all around the church, which was wonderful. But that's so they have been used, but in a different way. But so it's been mostly sort of some of the younger and more healthy people who have been able to come along and help with this. But as I say, we are keeping in contact with the others. And obviously, with the change of location, the actual content being different, we haven't required sort of a team of people to welcome or a team of people to actually do catering, because this has changed completely from what we were doing when we were in a church hall with up to 100 people on a Thursday night. So it's a very different feel. But certainly the team who have come on board for this have been able to come most times and have been regularly committed to what we're doing.
Brilliant. And what would you say, tell me a little bit about the team's experience of leading the Messy Adventures.
Well, initially, I think, when anybody starts something new, you're a bit out of your comfort zone. And I think that was true for all of us, but very grateful to Karen, who went through all the material for the piloting and was selecting what was appropriate for us. We did find, in terms of family, that it was younger families and younger children that were coming, some of whom were almost sort of babies in arms or sort of 2 and 3 year olds. So obviously that created awe and wonder, but it also meant that some of the things had to be adapted to be more appropriate to them. But the team were each asked to present one of the activities or one part of the session, which was totally different again to what some of them would have been doing. Some would have been involved in the activities or the craft side in the church hall before, but for some of them this was very much help, what am I letting myself in for? But the good news is that they are still coming and they have grown in confidence themselves. And I think this is true of all of us. The first time we did it, I think, the parents didn't know, or the families didn't know what they were coming to either. And we have gradually grown into it. It has become much more sort of comfortable, and we have got to understand more of the sort of concept and certainly appreciate more of God's creation and the gift of our wonderful churchyard.
Lovely. And you mentioned a little bit there about the kind of people that came. Would you say, Karen, it was the same sort of families that came, or have you had different sort of people? Have you had any new people come because it's outside? Or
mostly, sorry, Karen.
We've had a variety of age groups attend. The first session, we had about 20 people. We have adults that come on their own, families with young children, and obviously the team members as well. And everybody gets involved in all the activities throughout the whole session. So it's been a learning journey for us in the way that we organise it and the way that we prepare the session as well. When people first arrive, we give them an activity to go and do while we're waiting for everybody, which is, in a way, we sort of did that when we were in the hall, but it's more obvious now because we want to keep everybody warm and active, because most of our sessions have been obviously during the winter months. Then it was making sure that they were busy while we were registering, filling out all the forms, all the paperwork that was required for the pilot, so that everybody was happy.
Brilliant. And just for people that are used to the regular kind of Messy Church session, what would you say what's the main difference between the regular Messy Church sessions and the Messy Adventures?
The way that the activities, you don't need so many. When we were in the hall, we would have the traditional format where we would have sort of 8 to 10 activities. We would have a Lego table. We'd have a table that's got books on. We'd have some toys out for the babies. Whereas when we're doing the outside sessions, at maximum we have 6 activities, and that's been because we've been piloting them. If we were to do a session where we wouldn't be piloting it, so moving forward, we would probably only do 4 activities, depending on the ones that were chosen, just so that people had time to explore it, reflect on it, think about the questions, and share their ideas as well, which has been an important part of the session.
I remember when we spoke before, you talked about you've got quite an age span, and that's really obvious. You know, if people want to go onto the website, the video's on the homepage, so you'll be able to see the team in action. And I know from watching the video and looking at some of the photos you've shared with us, you have got quite a span of ages, which is incredible. Tell me a little bit about what you've observed in terms of the all age aspects of it. I remember we had a conversation about it before, and you felt that worked much better in the wild format. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. When we were in the hall doing the after school session, it would be a lot of maybe childminders, young families, mums, aunties, not so many dads. The outdoor sessions, it may be the timing of it, it may be the theme, it may just appeal to a broader range of people, but we've had whole families come together and work through the activities, grandparents coming along with their grandchildren, 3 generations of families coming along together and exploring the themes and engaging together, and the children sharing their ideas and their learning and things that they've learned from school. They've been sharing it not just with their own group, but they've felt confident enough to share those ideas with everybody within the session, which has been wonderful to see.
That's lovely. Sally's just popped a link in the chat for anybody who wants to go and have a look at the video, so do click on that. So why, given that you've had a go with it, there's other Messy Church leaders joining us this evening. For those of them watching, why should they give the Messy Adventures a go when the material becomes available?
I think because it, for us, certainly has highlighted a whole new world in a way, because we have slowed down. Messy Church sometimes used to feel very sort of rushed, and you were sort of looking at the time, and yes, you've got 5 minutes before you need to clear up, or in 5 minutes time we'll be serving the meal, and it's taken all that pressure off. We are so much more relaxed, which obviously is good for the team and is good for the families. There is really that sense of having time to actually stop, slow down, look around you and observe and listen in a churchyard or an open space. It's so different, obviously, from being in a building. Things are not prepared for you, but God has prepared it all. It is there for us to explore. And I think with families doing it, and particularly where you've got sort of younger children, the joy and the excitement. And this is so lovely for sort of the team to observe and see as well. And we have so much more interaction, whereas when we met in the hall, families would go round the tables, but keep themselves to themselves, some of them, not all, obviously. But here, as Karen said, we are all doing all the activities together. So we are working much more as a team. We are much more feeling that Messy Church is a family coming together. So although our numbers are smaller, we are being blessed in other ways, and we are building relationships, which within our church hall setting, we would probably never have done. So yes, I would definitely recommend that you try it. And I'm sure if you try 1 or 2 of them, that you will find it a blessing both for yourselves as a team and for the families as well. So do enjoy and explore, and take this on board if you possibly can.
Thank you. And what would be your top tips for teams who might be thinking about giving it a go?
Don't be overwhelmed by the amount of resources that are available for each session. It can look as if like, oh my goodness, where do I start with all of this amazing information? There's just so much of it. But unpick it, take a little look, decide what's relevant for your setting, for the age group of people that you're expecting to turn up or may well attend those sessions. And don't prepare too much, because the sessions just sort of take care of themselves. Once you've got 2 or 3 activities, before you know it, the time's whizzed by and everybody is engaged with everything and the time just disappears.
I'd just like to point out, after this morning's session, I can't believe how consistent the message is coming from both of you compared with Amy this morning. You have never met Amy, have you, from Gloucester? But she said so many similar things. We are aware that the material is, does look really, really different, and there is tons of it, isn't there? I think one of the other Gloucester churches had said they were planning to do 3 sessions, 3 separate services out of one of the units, because they were just going to really go into the story in a lot of detail over 3 separate sessions. And as you said, things outside just seem to take a lot longer. Our content creation team are very busy trying to find a really nice layout that'll make it really clear how to follow it. And we've written some documentation to help people navigate their way around it, because it will look and feel quite different. And we know a lot of the stuff in there is really to give you lots of background information, isn't it? So that you can feel confident to look at what's going to work in your context. And so your leaders feel confident to sort of deliver that. It's not, I think it looks like, oh my gosh, have I got to get all this information across to everybody as part of this activity? But it's all kind of good supportive information to give you the tools to have really great conversations with the people that come, isn't it? So just to finish with, how do you think the adventures helped people connect with God? Where did you notice God at work in the sessions that you ran?
I think partly in the way that people were open and willing to share. And I think, by looking at the video that we produced, I think that sort of spoke for itself, that people, were engaged with it. And there was that sense of joy and of excitement at seeing new things, of using, picking up sticks or items from the forest floor or the churchyard floor and creating their own things just for the pure joy of making something. One of our sessions, we just used material and created Messy Church Goes Wild, the wording of it. And everybody was engaged with it, from the youngest to the oldest. So there are things that, everybody can do, and just pick and mix what is really appropriate, and possibly just focus on one sort of Bible reading or Bible verse, because at first we got a bit overwhelmed by trying to include more than one, but you use them in whatever way and enjoy, and the families will enjoy. If you're enjoying things, then that is infectious, isn't it? If they see your enjoyment, then that goes on to others.
Just one final additional question. You talked about obviously you used to have a meal together when you were in the church hall, and you don't do that now, but you do eat together, don't you? Tell us a little bit about how you do food as part of the Messy Adventures.
We looked through the Messy Adventure resources, and as we were piloting the session, we decided that we wouldn't have a sit-down meal like we would normally do. And even when we did our summer sessions each year, we would sort of like have a picnic and things together at the end. But the time of the year that we were piloting the scheme, it wasn't really appropriate to sit down and have a picnic outdoors. So we've used camping stoves, and each session produced something different. Families have helped us to prepare the food in some instances, or other times they have added to what we have cooked. So one time we made campfire apples. So we just literally just cored out apples, added some water, sugar, and sultanas, and just cooked those up while the session was going on, and everybody enjoyed it at the end. Another time we made pancakes, and then they used fresh fruit to create insects on them. So yeah, we've just been sort of quite creative with the activities that have been within the session, and used that as the food that the children have then, and the families have then enjoyed eating at the end. And the last session that we did, we had a pot that had all sorts of different fruits and vegetables in. And after Christine had sort of talked to them about eating healthily and trying new fruits and vegetables, one of the families, the young lad that was in the group, he tried some of the fruit and vegetables for the first time and really enjoyed them. And his mum was so pleased. So, yeah, all things are possible as a result.
That's really good to hear. Oh, thank you so much, ladies, for being with us this evening. If you've enjoyed what you've heard and you'd love an opportunity to meet Christine and Karen, and you'd like to get hands-on with the Messy Adventures, they are very kindly hosting us at a roadshow event on Saturday, the 30th of July. It runs from 2 till 4 o'clock, and we'll run one of these Messy Adventure sessions. It's their favourite session that they've piloted. It's called Wild and Wiggly, and it's all about mini beasts, which is about God valuing the small, and through the story of Zacchaeus. So we're really looking forward to being with them then. So if you are in the Hornchurch area and can join us, then that would be brilliant. I think Sally's the booking link is in the chat there. If Hornchurch is not local to you, the Gloucester team that have been piloting the material as well are hosting us on Saturday the 17th of September. That's a slightly different, it's quite a long day, so we're with them from 11 till 4. There'll be some activities in the morning, picnic lunch, and some activities again in the afternoon, and they've chosen to share lots of different activities from lots of different of the adventures units. So again, please do join us for that day if you're able. Again, the booking link is in the chat, and I appreciate that both of those are quite southerly. If neither of those places are local to you, please keep an eye out on our social media and on the website and the events page. We'll be restarting the roadshows in the spring of next year. We hope to have at least 2 more. And if you're interested in hosting us, we're looking for some more northerly shores. Maybe not Orkney. We've had an invitation from Orkney, which we'd love to go to, and also from one in the Manchester area. But if you're interested in hosting us, then do please get in touch. So again, thank you very much, both Christine and Karen, for sparing your time this evening to share your messy adventuring with us. It's been brilliant to work with you both. I really appreciate all the feedback and all the brilliant pictures and the time you gave us to do the video. It's very greatly appreciated. And one final thank you to Sally, who's not on screen but in the background making this conversation possible to share with you all. So huge thanks to Sally for making all the tech work like a dream. So we'll just say good evening. I hope you all have a much better night's sleep this evening than you probably managed the last couple of evenings. Go well and God bless. Good night.